down here in the South, we a little skeptical of the government, okay? We a little skeptical. Recently, in America, I don't know if you know this, but our social security numbers have been compromised. And I don't know about you, but I like my privacy. And my privacy is very important to me. And the fact that my social security number has been just out into the way, that is my identity. And now that my identity is compromised, I'm a little worried. Fortunately, some ordinary gamers with 3.8 million subscribers has done a little bit of investigation into this social security number leak, which I haven't seen anybody talk about. They're memory holding this shit like Donald Trump's assassination. I don't know what the beginning country southern gentleman that thing was, but it just started and I couldn't stop. So, but I want to hear about this.
Well, apparently you probably have seen the news. Hackers may have stolen the social security number of every American. Was your social security number stolen? Hackers may have leaked every American social security information. Yeah, when I read stuff like this, obviously there's no doubt in my mind there's going to be people in the audience who are probably wondering, whoa, Muda, has my SSN been leaked, my social security number? Which
That's exactly why I'm here.
is by far one of your most private numbers out there. Obviously, even
Maybe
big
the
publications
most
like the
important-
LA Times, hackers may have stolen the social security numbers. Fox 5, every American social security number address may have been stolen. So to give an idea real quick, a social security number, for anybody that doesn't know, is a unique number in the United States for every resident in the country. So kind of like in Canada, we have something known as a social insurance number. And typically this is like a 9-digit
You're Canadian, eh? Hey, Scotty, I found one of your neighbors.
number that everybody has as a citizen or permanent residence in the country. So, quick example: when I pay tax every year on my personal name, I'm not sending it, identifying myself as my name usually.
Nope, you're sending it as a set of numbers, i.e. these numbers.
I identify to the revenue agency as my social insurance number because that's a unique number that is only attributed to me. No two different people in the country can have the same social insurance number or the same SSN number. It's one of the reasons why.
Because it's supposed to be like Bitcoin. Never mind. That's actually a bad metaphor.
You have to be pretty careful about it. And sometimes even the government will tell you you don't have to provide this to anyone if you don't need to. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, with this being leaked, apparently 2.9 billion records have been leaked out. And this has obviously scared a few people. So I want to take you down and basically demystify this and kind of tell you that it doesn't seem like it's all real, ladies and gentlemen. We can chill out on the misinformation and fear-mongering, okay? So if you're worried that your personal information is out there, it probably is. But in this situation, I think some people can breathe easy. So what had happened was August 6th, this post gets made on a massive hacker forum.
Okay.
National Public Data Full Database 2024. Now, this one hacker known as Fennis basically said, "Greetings, I'm here to inform you that the full NPD database has been breached by SXUL and it's now available to download." So there are two links in this whole situation, and obviously I'm blurring them out because I don't want to be sharing any leaks, even if they're unverified or verified or whatever. I don't know how that plays with YouTube's TOS. Probably not that well.
Probably not.
But obviously they give these two links. And these two links are, we're talking like 30, 40 gigabytes or something.
Okay.
The password, obviously they provided it. The format is in a CSV, and when you unpack it, apparently it's 277 gigabytes uncompressed, okay? They've even said in one of the URLs that the FBI can suck their genitalia, okay? It is what it is with these hackers. And obviously a quick sample will show you that it's got multiple line numbers. So, for instance, they'll bring you several names, and they'll give you the address, they'll give you their city, they'll give you their state code, the zip code, and then, of course, the social security number at the end.
Isn't Anchorage in Alaska? Is that AK right there? So yeah, it should go identity, first name, last name, middle name, name if there's suffix, date of birth, address, city, county name, state, zip code, phone number 1, aka full name, aka second name. So these are like, this is the legal government name, and this is what you go by. Start date. That you're like your date of birth and alternate date of birth, just in case you've died and come back. The fuck, and then lastly your social number.
End. So obviously I'm blurring and censoring all of this key information out. But to give you an idea, there are certain people that have multiple entries in this list. And obviously they'll have multiple entries because they might change an address, they might have multiple properties,
They could also have like a business or something like that, right?
but they'll usually have a similar exact social security number address. So how much would this hacker group, how much would this one hacker charge for such a delicious, juicy database? Apparently around 3.5 million US dollars is what the asking price is
Oh.
on this hack. Now,
Oh.
has anybody bought it yet? No, I don't think so. But a good chunk of the information appears to just be floating out anyways, so if you are in the space of purchasing this stuff, probably wouldn't be worth it. Now, one thing I want to stress off by saying, when it comes to hackers, right? The reason why these leaks make the news is because somebody looking at this will be like, oh my god, my information's out there. Now comes the next step, which is verifying if this information is even actually accurate. And that involves downloading these data sets, picking through them, and seeing that, hopefully they contain some pretty accurate information. Generally, the best case is if you can find yourself in this and see if all of the attributing information actually matches. Now, unfortunately, or actually fortunately, very fortunately in this situation, it seems like that might not be the case. Now, one person, Troy Hunt, who basically runs and operates the website Have I Been Pwned, where you can put in your email address and check if you've been in any data leaks. So you can start
That's actually kind of crazy.
changing passwords and shit. He basically looked and found that, yes, there is in fact his email sitting around. But what he also claims is none of the other data that he censored is actually his data. So sometimes you'll find your email address or one identifier, like I'll find my email address and then it'll just be some random address or a random social insurance number that's not even mine. Therefore,
I wonder,
making
what
me
is that?
question the validity of this data. Now, obviously,
just
sometimes
random data?
mistakes happen, and some data can actually be relatively legit. But I guess the question now that some people will ask is, but Muda, where did this massive 2.9 billion record leak come out?
Yeah, Muda, when did it come out? Did you not see me pacing? I was pacing. Why are you smiling?
Well, apparently it came out from a data broker known as the National Public Data. So nationalpublicdata.com, if you
So?
look at them, they do XML API data services, so criminal records, background checks, and
Yeah?
more.
What does that mean?
Our services are currently used by investigators, background check websites, scumbags like data resellers. I mean,
Oh, I thought it said
let's
scumbags
be
right
honest,
there.
most people on this list are just scumbags. Mobile apps, applications, or more. So if you go to their About section, you'll
You know
find
what?
out that
True,
a website
fair,
like this,
yeah.
I love the Shutterstock
Smash.
images, bro. Like, I don't even know if this is AI or just a group of models. Many different businesses use our services. All of our data is updated regularly. We guarantee freshness and quality. Dog, am I ordering data or food? I can't tell. Search billions of records with instant results, and many searches are a no-hit, no-fee. Our services are
shit.
used by private investigators, staffing agencies, HR, and whatnot. So again, if you go to
You were right. It is a bunch of scumbags.
their services, they're in the business of basically aggregating data. So what is a data aggregator? Well, it's a company or platform that collects or combines data
I was
from
about to
multiple
do this.
sources into a unified data set. So I want you to consider it kind of like
Thank you, Muta, for providing this information for me.
digital scraping as a business. So for instance, if a company like this wanted to aggregate my data, they would say, okay, this is
How gross is this? I am all for capitalism, and I'm not even gonna make like an anti-capitalism like rant on this, but it is just so it just shows how valuable our data is that there's multi-million-dollar companies and companies that are getting propped up just to be frauds, just to get as much of the bottom fruit as they can. But how valuable our data is if there's companies out here who just want to set up giant virtual machines, like they're on a large acreage of land, and they're just sending those virtual machines out just to aggregate and work on the garden and all of that shit, and all of that is just reaping up our data, or just all of this information, good, bad, and everything in between. Ugh, it's kind of gross.
Mutahar. let's go and scour the internet for all of his personal information and something that could identify him. So they'll go on website A and find my date of birth. They'll go on website B and find, I don't know, my wife's name or something, or somebody, or my kid, or whoever, right? Website
That's
C,
terrifying.
all right? They might find an address of mine. Website D, they might find a leaked social insurance number. By going on the internet and collecting all this information and amalgamating it together, they then sell this information to people who want to buy your personal information so they can target ads better to you. Also,
This is like every large media company now, because I used to work for one, and when that was a part of the research, was just we had these large programs that could just tell us to walk into a business and say virtually, hey, is this the problem that you're facing? Huh. Well, here's our solution, and it's tailored exactly to your problem. It was gross. It is gross. I'm not a fan. That's why I'm out of it.
if there are scammers in the world, which there are plenty of, having your personal information
Wait,
on
are
the,
you saying
on the
I was a
deck,
scammer?
on the ready is so valuable to them.
Because it kind of was.
They can use that to scam you, to pretend to be your telephone service provider, to pretend to be somebody personal, so they can have a better chance at getting money or personal information out of you. It's truly a scummy business, and one that actually involves people going out of their way to opt out from.
I'm glad
Now,
that you
front of
think
the
it is
channel,
scummy as
okay,
well.
Front of the show, VX Underground. Okay, you know these guys. April 8, 2024. They said a threat actor operating under the moniker USDOD. That was one of the names, and of course, obviously, the one name that I showed you was also valid. Placed a large data set up for sale on a hacker forum. National Public Data. They claim to contain 2.9 billion records on U.S. citizens, and they put the sale up for $3.5 million. Truly some hack the planet type shit, boys. Watch that movie,
Literally.
Hackers. It's great. National Public Data is a background check and personal lookup and verification company located in Coral Springs, Florida. The company offers API data lookups to other companies. So
Wait, this company's down in Florida? What the hell?
basically, they're a data broker. So what they had found was...
Okay, so VX Underground, I'm just going to read this movie. I'm sorry. On April 8, 2024, a threat actor operating under moniker US DOD placed a large database up for sale for the breach titled National Public Data. They claim to contain 2.9 million records on the United States citizens. They put it up for sale for 3.5 million. National Public Data is a background check and personal lookup verification company located in Coral Springs, Florida, just south of good old Georgia, where we are located. The company offers API data lookups to other companies. In summary, they're a low-key data broker. They're super gross. This week, we are informed that US DOD intends to leak the database. We requested a copy in advance to confirm the validity of the data. We reviewed the massive file. It's 270 plus gigs, uncompressed, and can confirm the data present is real and accurate. We searched up several individuals who consented to have their information looked up upon. And number one, the database does not contain information from individuals who use opt-in, opt-out services. Every person who used some type of opt-out was not present. Okay, cool. So this just goes to show you, hey, when you're signing up for the terms of service, opt out of everything just to keep yourself safe. And number two, or as safe as possible. And then people who do not use data out services resided in the United States were immediately found, and it showed their first name, last name, and I'm sure it's going to show everything else.
The database. They reviewed the massive data set that's uncompressed, as did I, and can confirm the data present in it is accurate and real. We searched up several individuals who consented to having their information looked up. So what they said was the database does not contain information from individuals who use
Exactly
data
it,
opt-out
what we were just
services.
saying. Okay.
And of course, people who did not use data opt-out services and resided in the United States were immediately found. It showed their first, last name, address, address history, and their social security number. So because this data set is so big, you might be like, Muda, aren't there only like 300 to 350 million Americans? Why would they have information that if you had to even ratio it out, you're looking at around 700 to 800 million people's records in? It's because some of them are obviously deceased individuals, right? Like obviously they're going to have information
True.
on people that have been passed away.
Yep.
Whether this information is used for identity fraud or whatnot is a totally separate fact. But basically, what had happened was information from a data...
Fun fact, that's like what most identity fraud is taking the identity of somebody who is dead, not alive.
Broker apparently allegedly has leaked out, and that information, whether it's totally valid or not, can be used against people that didn't know any better. So you might be like, how do I fight against these people? What do I do? Well, we had a sponsor on the video. One of our long-time sponsors at this point is Aura. But if you look at this list, there's plenty of companies that now exist to do opt-out removal for you. Yes, data
I didn't know
brokers
this.
are such a nuisance in today's modern day and age that we now have multiple tech companies whose entire job it is to fill out opt-out forms for you and basically remove you from registries.
This is literally, they created a problem and now are selling a solution. Like, I would not be surprised if some of these companies are sister companies to the data aggregate themselves. And they said, you know what? This is becoming profitable. Why not have a side thing to offer this as well? Like,
That these people, amalgamate and put together. They're protecting you from data brokers. So you got companies like Optory, PrivacyBee, Incogni, IDX, Canary, DeleteMe, Mozilla Monitor, and of course, Aura. So obviously, depending on which option you go with, they'll give you different things. But yes, an opt-out service will work in your favor to get rid of your information from as many data brokers as they
That's
possibly
insane.
can. And to give you an idea about data brokers, obviously even back in like 2018, one data broker known as Exactis had this situation, a data breach. So what they said was, how did Exactis have around 340 million records in the first place? According to McAfee, all right, God rest, the Florida-based marketing firm collects and trades consumer data in order to refine the accuracy of targeted ads. So precisely what makes this breach so crucial, as the information exposed is highly personal. That could contain phone numbers, home email addresses, informations, number, age, gender. But point is, this is apparently the cause of a data broker having their information allegedly taken from them. Now, I don't believe Public Record has made any statement in this situation at all. I'm not even connected to their actual newsletter. But to give you an idea about opting out, if you go to their website, at the very bottom, you see under About Us Services, the opt-out section.
yep.
You actually have to go to these scumbags and fill out their actual, opt-out request right here. So depending on which state you're in, you have the right to request that we delete personal information.
Okay, so if you're in California, Virginia, Colorado, Connecticut, or Utah, you have the right to request that we delete your personal information. Shit! If you're a California, Virginia, you may... Okay. It doesn't say anything about Atlanta. Son of a...
And you gotta send a whole email to them or call their 1-800 number that I'm pretty sure is gonna be timely answered and walk your way out through it. Imagine having to call your digital stalker, each and every single one of them, and getting your information taken out. It's a nuisance. It is actually annoying. Now,
It's also-
whether this information actually...
It's probably an easy task, but it's one of these things where it's such a headache, and it's so in your face that you're probably just gonna not do it, and you're just like, oh, that's just annoying, and you're just gonna move on.
came from NPD. Well, that's, again, like I said, yet to be confirmed. They haven't made a statement. But at the end of the day, based on, again, the people present in this, wherever this information came from, it is more likely that it came from some data broker, okay? Who that person is, we have no idea. But again, that doesn't mean that the lawsuit wing of America doesn't get to operate. Obviously, America is land of the brave, home of the free, home of the lawsuit, whatever you want to call it. There's been a lawsuit filed from one plaintiff against Jericho Pictures doing business as the National Public Data, an individual on behalf of all others similarly situated. So it looks almost class action at this point. In fact, it is, according to the introduction. So what they said was defendant Jericho Pictures is a background search company that many businesses use to obtain criminal records, background checks via XML integration. So upon information and belief, plaintiffs and class members are not current or former customers, but are individuals who had the misfortune of having their personally identifiable information targeted, mined, and scraped without their consent. Now, this is such a hazy part in America, and obviously why you need strong privacy laws, because what this company is doing is not necessarily... Like, I don't even think it's illegal. Like, obviously, these data broker companies exist.
It's not illegal for sure. It's just super gross that this is something that is so valuable that most people weren't even aware of, and now people are making millions and millions of dollars, and there's sub businesses propagated off of it, and that how large of a just that industry it is. It's just gross.
in the U.S. and they can just freely operate. And of course they have to abide by opt-out requests. But what they're doing, unfortunately, isn't really an illegal practice, as sad as that sounds. So what they said was, while no details have yet been revealed by defendant as to how or when the data breach occurred, upon information and belief, a cyber criminal group by the name of USDOD gained access to the networks prior to April 2024 and was able to exfiltrate the unencrypted PII of billions of individuals. Unencrypted is actually really, really important as well too. Like, it always sucks when a breach happens, but it also double sucks when the breach is, there was no like protection of anybody's like information at all. It's just fucked. Anyways, they said in April 8, 2024, a criminal gang entered the national public data and basically alleged to distribute 2.9 billion individuals.
Yes, everything we've said at the beginning of the video.
And again, it's not individuals. These are just like rows of data. In some cases, there could be like 9 rows, but they're all the same person. So it's factually incorrect to say that this is actually 2.9 billion individuals. It's probably far less, but it's still a lot that we're going with. So what they're actually seeking is to adequately protect the PII of plaintiffs, warn plaintiffs of inadequate information security practice, and effectively secure hardware containing those protected PII using reasonable and effective security procedures. Now,
So from what I'm gathering is the people who are doing this, these supposed hackers, are saying, hey, pay us the money, and 1, put up better encryption, 2, tell everybody, hey, we're sorry for having your, failing to secure your privacy and failing to be able to uphold your privacy, and go back to point number 1, do something about it. Which is kind of gangster. They're kind of like the Robin Hood of information, but still, like, I wonder if they get that 3.5 mil, which they're not. What would happen with it? Would they just kind of make off and go to Cuba?
I'm going to be honest, I did not expect a lawsuit this quickly, but, it is America, okay? Land of the lawsuit, I guess.
True.
Now, at the end of the day, whether this is from this actual...
We like our lawsuits.
Is still yet to be confirmed. Whether this is a actual, leak is yet to be confirmed. But based on, constant analysis, it really seems like there are 2 different stories. Obviously, the friends at VX Underground can confirm that there's some apparent legitimacy, but it might be information that's been scraped by these data brokers, which poses, again, some awareness, right? If you're actually genuinely worried about your private information, it is probably in your benefit to get like a opt-out request service, just so they can start filling those forms out and keeping your information as far away from these scumbags as possible. But I don't know how valid that's going to be when, there's going to be some jurisdictions and areas where opt-outs aren't even really a thing. So at the end of the day, they can minimize your exposure as much as possible, but I don't think any of these services can outright eliminate it, as sad as that sounds, again. The other thing is, obviously, with this kind of a leak, there is Troy Hunt, who says that he's seen his email, but also not their information around there. I, obviously, not being an American with a social security number, can't jump in and verify myself. But, you've got 2 kind of stories over here. But it really seems that if there is some legitimate information floating around, there is a possibility for people to have a leak. And it is something for you to kind of worry about. But I think, if anything, it's best to just change your passwords, resecure some of your accounts. And again, be mindful of when you're getting a scam call, because generally after some of these data breaches, you have to worry about, getting scammed. Whether
Getting a call and then saying, hey, is this Elliot? Or like they're calling, hello, we're calling Elliot. Hey, this is he. And then they can like take your voice and manipulate it in a lot of different ways. Like if you fuck up on a phone call and say like 6 or 7 words with AI now, they can literally extrapolate it and make you virtually say anything that you want. So when I get a number that I don't recognize, I just instantly, like, unless they're leaving me a voicemail or shooting me a text message afterwards, not gonna respond. And I would genuinely, I would recommend that you guys kind of do the same. Like, protect yourself, protect your privacy, protect your loved ones, and